or good evening, whichever one it is for you. This is Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash, live from Las Vegas, and we are going to do what it is that we do on this show, which is looking through expiring domain names, finding the best ones, talking about maybe what could be developed on that domain name, and how a business can be built based on that domain name. So you can come to this show right now without any business ideas, just a desire to do something. Then you can get a business idea, get a great opportunity at a domain name, and possibly leave here to change your future, create whatever it is that you want for your future out there. Great things can come from this show here. So thanks for joining. Domain names have changed my life, as well as many in the community as they come in, start chatting, see several of these out there. Super excited to have you all here. And we are going to jump into some domain names. So if you haven't already, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you say hi in the chat so that way everybody knows you're here. They're super nice. They will welcome you. And if you're watching on a restream, live is the way to watch Domain to Profit. Every domain name, everything's changing all the time. In fact, one of the domain names I'm currently bidding on, which is, let me see here, Remote Backup. We talked about it last week. Remote Backup is bidding, I think I'm bidding on that one a little over $3,000. And that domain name will end over the next 30 minutes or so. So, maybe worth being on live. So appreciate everybody on there already saying hi. I'm Drew Wash, Domain to Profit. I'll see you on the other side of this. I don't even know if the sound went out that time, but you got the graphics. You read along. Okay, these remote streams, they always create technical hurdles and challenges, which I'm okay with. I'm okay. If you just saw the mess that is in front of me, wires tangled everywhere, probably the only person I know that travels with an extension cord. It's fun stuff. But it's all worth it because I get to do what I love, and maybe what you already love or will love. Look through expiring domain names. So let me say hi to everybody here. Dominic, yes, you are very much the first comment today. And yes, I'm still buying domain names. I'm very much still buying domain names. I'll share with you. I shared last week that I got appleorchards.com. I think I shared that last week. Appleorchards.com. I did find another domain name, several $1,000s. I'll share which domain name that was towards the end of the show as I share my purchases this week. And I am open to domain names. Community.dtp.tv. Let me pull that up on the screen. This is where you can go to submit domains that you think I'm interested in. You will see a opportunity here. Let me do this. I'll instead of telling, I'll go and community.dtp.tv. And when you get to the community page, you will see an option for buying spree. That will give you I don't want you to see oh my goodness, I'm giving it all away. See, can't go impromptu. But community.dtp.tv is where you can go. There's an option for buying spree where you can find the criteria that I'm looking for in the domain names that I'm buying right now. Already at least $100,000 allocated for purchasing, and there may be more coming. Maybe more coming. So, but they have to be the right domains. If you watch a show, you know that I buy specifics. And Bill, yes, you were here before 3, which I think that is awesome. I was actually here. I was just about to comment, and I was like, oh, I guess I should just go live. So welcome. Nice to have you here. Only an acre. Always changing names, but it's all good. Hi. Welcome. Nice to have you. Rock and Matt as well. And Matt, thanks for sharing out the community website. And that's basically free. You can come in there, check it out. There may be some paid content in the future someday. I'm always playing with the idea of like giving more information away. Like, what is my max bid? What am I bidding on? Things that are valuable, and maybe we can all get together and do the same things. Maybe not. I don't know. So, okay. Well, I'm going to hop over to expireddomains.net, which is this right here. Voila! Expireddomains.net. You'll see it up in the URL. Free site. So if this is your first time here, you'll want to get a free account for expireddomains.net. It is free. They make their money when you click the link. They take a commission on the purchase price. You don't pay more. You do not pay more. So click the links. Give them the money. I'm sure they've made many hundreds of dollars, if not more, from the domain names that I have purchased, and I am happy to support them. So we set up filters on the show that take this from well over several 100,000 domain names, and you'll see under $90,000 or 90,000 domain names. We only look at .com domains. We get rid of numbers, get rid of hyphens. We look at English words, 1 to 3 English words. All of those filters you'll find on the filters video and the link over on YouTube. You can follow along with the exact list that we're looking here, or you can make your own up and check it out. So highly encourage you to do that if that is what you're interested in doing. Otherwise, you'll see it hopefully screen or show on my screen as well. So how the show works, we pull up expireddomains.net, we filter out the domain names, and we are looking specifically at GoDaddy Domains, which they have the most of them that are expiring, because they also gather some of the other registrars and pull them in through their system. There are other sites which you can find here on expireddomains.net. Check them out. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Let's dive into the domains. So what you're going to see on this, especially if this is one of your first times on the show, and let me zoom out a little bit. One of the things you will need to do is click on valuation and order by valuation. Is that the amount that the domain name's worth? No, that's not the amount the domain name's worth. That is just a score to bring the best ones to the top. Think of it as that. Think of it as kind of like an order code or a priority code. The highest number shows up on top. It does not actually assign a value. It just assigns a number. And that number is very helpful for knowing which ones are on top or the best ones. The only thing is, in many cases, even that number, they're not the best ones on top all the time. So keep going, and you'll find that you will find some great domain names lower on the list as well. Like the watch, if you know me, the is not the great. I don't really like the word the at the beginning of a domain name unless it makes sense. The watch does not make sense. I don't know why that one's the top one. And I will also point out it is an enom domain name. Enom is notorious for the domain names never actually make it to auction. So there you go. If it never actually finishes the auction, bid last minute on those. Did a show about that, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, giving you more information on that. 9 yards. So when you're looking over this list, if you're like me, you see a lot of these and you go, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty short. Oh, that's almost really good. But if it's ever almost, then it's not good enough. So just because it's on the list, if it's almost, you want to be a quick pass on anything that's an almost. So you will see that I will skip over a lot of domain names that others may be open to paying hundreds or even thousands on. I'm just not interested in. Remote backup we talked about last week. I'm going to click on that one just because as of I'm currently the high bidder, ending in 36 minutes. I have my max bid in there. We'll see if I get it. I'm not going to micromanage that one. I just think it's a valuable domain name, but we'll see what happens with it. We'll check in at the end of the show, see what happens. That may be a couple $1,000 domain name for me. Pharma Health, test website. I had that one marked as a interesting domain name, mostly just because, have you ever typed in test website, or maybe you're learning web design or HTML and you're like, I'm going to link the test website. I'm guessing this website gets a decent amount of type-in traffic. You'll see here 554 is what GoDaddy is monitoring at. Do not monitor, do not base your buying decisions on these numbers. They're just helpful information. I've purchased on that number one time. It was silly. I knew it was a bad idea, and it was proven to me that I wasted $800 buying a domain name based on traffic. Had to prove it to myself, though. So if you want to talk about remote backup, that one was last week. Testwebsite.com. I like from the idea of that the type in traffic. It's just kind of fun. Oh, yeah, I own testwebsite.com. Oh, whatever. Workphone.com. That's one of the ones I highlighted on the thumbnail or the front of the show. And the reason I did that was because I just recently purchased a Polycom phone that works with Zoom phone. So it was very much a work phone. What I'm going to do is do what we do with domains. We take them, we drop the .com, we break them into keywords, and then we use Spyfu or a similar type search to get data on that keyword. Spyfu is a paid tool that I use. They do have some free stuff that you can use as well. So let's see here what we have. 570 searches for work phone. This middle column over one of these sides over here, I can't see myself at all, so I have no idea which side it is. I guess it would be maybe that side. Is these similar keywords here. What I like to do is my keyword may have 570 matches for the keyword I'm searching, but what I want to do is do a Control F and then just look at highlight. So we want to highlight that keyword on the page. And one of the things you'll see here when I did that, there's none of them in the middle are highlighted. So all these different keywords that are similar do not contain our domain phrase, which is work phone. The keywords in our domain name work phone do not appear in these searches, don't even appear in the questions. That tells me that even though there's 570 searches, there's not a whole lot happening with this domain name. In fact, we have 6 advertisers. Every week it lets you know. I like to see advertisers at double digits or higher, and I especially want to see cost per click at $2 or higher, or at least have somebody paying for advertising, which right now it's showing as 0. Not sure what's up with that. Could be an error, could be something else. Either way, this domain name, based on the data I see, I probably would not go. I'd give it like my 688 type bid, which is the lower side of an unknown domain. My gut tells me might be good, which this one ends in 7 days. So it'll be ending before the show next week. So currently $510, workphone.com, GoDaddy auction. Discount City, Quality Software. Any quality software people out there? I don't mind it. That seems pretty reasonable. Yeah. Don't forget to like the video. It does help a lot. And it gives Drew that little bit of endorphin. It's like, they liked it. Somebody out there appreciated it, which I appreciate. We have no sponsors. We make no money. We spend a lot of money. So thank you, Matt. I actually remembered to actually say that at the beginning of the show. Discount City. It sounds like a brandable, maybe interesting to some of you out there. Modern Pay, Quality Software. I like Quality Software. I just avoid the word software mostly. Let's click on it though. Let's see what it is. It's not always about you, Drew. It's about the domain name. And I will let you know, just recently, a software domain name, a domain name that I do own that has software in it, it got a several $1,000 offer to purchase it from me, which that makes me kind of think that maybe I need to go ahead and spend some time on looking at this. 135 exact searches. Advertisers are 10. Cost per click, what's up with that? Is there a tool down or something? I'm going to have to check another tool to see if what's happening with that. Okay, Control F. I'm going to highlight. Let's see what we have. And this is kind of what I figured would happen. So another one where there's really nothing going on. It's maybe more of a brandable type domain name. If you program programs, if you create apps or whatever else, if you create software, you may be interested in quality software as a great domain name for your business. But to put a business on it, if you're not a software creator, probably not feeling it. So again, that one's going to be hundreds of dollars. It's going to be almost your gut. Go with your gut versus the numbers, which is also why I won't be bidding on that one. The Misfits, is that like a band or something? Sounds like a band. Business Elite, sure. Cannabis Cures, that sounds like a quick way to get a domain name banned. Smart Checkout, I like Smart Checkout. This is another one that I grabbed. I used it on the thumbnail, and it's not even up for auction anymore. It got pulled. Well, this is a good opportunity to tell you that this is what happens. Somebody was letting the domain name expire. They've renewed it, and now the domain name is no longer for auction. This happens somewhat frequently, especially on the domain names that are further out. So this one was probably, I'm guessing 6 or 7 days out. No, 5 days out. So it happens. It's unfortunate. I like that domain name. Smart Checkout sounds like a good one. But it is renewed and no longer available. So in fact, I'm going to go and drop that off my list. App downloads? See, enom domain. In fact, what you'll see with enom domains is, and this is how predictable this is, around 2 days left in the auction, they no longer will be available. So if you click on it, let's see if it's been pulled already. Okay, so currently it's still up for auction. I love app downloads. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it here just because it's an enom domain name, and I do believe it's going to end up getting pulled before the end of the auction. However, well, let's go. We'll research it. We'll give them some credit. So here's the key with this. Do not bid on this domain name until the last 5 minutes of the auction. So 6 minutes left, in fact. As close to 5 minutes as you're willing to go, wait to bid. We do not want to let them know what their domain name is worth, because a lot of times they will pull it last minute after they know what the domain name's worth. So they do this to kind of find the price, and I don't encourage that. Here we go. This is one nice thing I'll be able to do with this. I'll be able to illustrate my Control F thing. So now that we do a Control F, it's still not doing it. There's still not much happening. I thought there were some here, but I see that it is singular. So you'll see a lot of these middle ones, Xbox app download, App Store download. So those are singular. So the singular of this domain name is kicking the butt of the plural. It happens sometimes, especially on something like this where it's software related. But look at this. We got 10 advertisers. So we have double-digit advertisers. Hey, look at that. It's not broken. There's actually data there now. Cost per click, 72 cents. So, there's something there based on the numbers. It's really tough for me to say. I would probably say it's up to high side, $3,500. Low side can be whatever it's going for. I wouldn't bid under probably, I'd give it an 888 bid, just kind of a token bid. I kind of like it. I don't know if I'd go above that, mostly just because I don't know what I would put on it. What do you put? What are you going to go compete with Amazon? Are you going to compete with Google and Apple for app downloads? No, you're not. In fact, there's very few people that will do that, which is why I would never pay thousands for that domain name. If I can get it, maybe I can sell it to somebody in the future. But right now, there's no room in that business that I'm aware of. And that matters. You got to think about the business a little bit. That's kind of one of those things where I'm lucky enough that I deal with this stuff a lot. Like I'm always thinking about business. I'm thinking about how can I make money off this? How can I make money off of this? And I can see app downloads, and I'm, kind of familiar with that arena and how people are downloading apps. And really, for the most part, the only ones that would probably be willing to pay to list on app downloads are apps that do not work on the major platforms. And if Apple won't let them on their platform, or if Google won't let them be a verified app or something, do you really want that app on your platform? Like give it a backdoor, like, I don't know. Yeah, so the Misfits are a band. I figured they were. It sounds like a good band name. The Misfits, the Monkeys. Okay. Okay, let's find some good one. Ooh, Out of Touch. I didn't see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Summer Deals. Good, bad, seasonal domain names. I've always thought about the idea of running around me. We're in Ohio, so we have cold winters, hot summers, and we get the summer business is the cones or the ice cream shops. So they're only open during the summer, like Memorial Day to Labor Day, and they sell ice cream and slushies and icy things and all the cold desserts. And I always thought that would be a good way to retire, like a good retirement business. You work those 3-4 months out of the year, and then you go lay in the beach and be a snowbird in the off season. So maybe Summer Deals could be the same thing. You work for a little bit, pull together the summer discounts, sell them, and then go out of town for a few months and kind of wait during the winter. Although it's always summer somewhere. So it's always summer somewhere. This one in $650 currently, 5 days left on the auction. I'm going to type it into Spyfu just to see. My gut says it's not all that. Yeah. So 220 exact searches. We'll go do the Control F. It's Control F on a Windows laptop. I'm sure it's something different on a Apple. So nothing really showing up there. Some advertisers, 5 advertisers, 52 cents on the cost per click. Really not much happening. So this is one of those times that you can adjust your gut. If you're coming into domain names, and you're trying to figure out how much domain names are worth. Like, why is this domain name worth $10,000, $20,000? Why is this domain name worth hundreds of dollars? These numbers that we show on Spyfu help guide that. They help to guide and show you what people are already paying. So this is, if you see a lot of advertisers, that means there's competition for that keyword. And if you see high cost per click numbers, that means that competition's paying good money for it. So those are just bits. So I don't know anything about summer deals. You may not know anything about summer deals. And when we're buying these domain names in these industries that we don't know anything about, we have to have something that lets us have a firm foundation, have some concrete to lay our feet on and just know that this domain name is worth something and how much is it worth. Now, if you go above that, at least you can always fall back to the baseline. So the baseline that I kind of use looks at a rating. In my head, I'm running like how many advertisers, is there competition? In this case, there is some competition, but it's middle of the road. And then it's only 52 cents per click. So what I'm doing is I'm scoring that at, usually I like to see one of the numbers at either double digits or $2. In that case, I would take the number of monthly searches and do a range of $1 per monthly search up to $2. In this case, since both those numbers are low, I have to do it based on almost my gut more than anything else. The foundation price that I'm talking about, that foundation price for this domain name is going to be like $250, $300. But in reality, Summer Deals sounds pretty good. It has a marketing. It can have some value for marketing purposes. I can see summerdeals.com on a billboard, or the store windows of all those, Florida or hot place shops. When you go south or go towards some place that's at all the beach resorts, all those windows, they always have summerdeals.com. Boom, order them online, whatever it is. So even though the keyword traffic's there, the marketing value of this domain name is pretty high. So the foundation level, based on the numbers, based on the data, you're talking a couple $100, not much. The marketing piece of it, that's where this domain name would probably kick up to, it's probably going to go for a couple $1,000s. I wouldn't be surprised. $650 already. Now for me, I like foundational domains. I look for foundation type domains that I don't have to take much risk in. I can capitalize on making money. I can develop them. I can make them work. Summer Deals is outside of that. So I don't benefit from the marketing. If you are buying domain names to sell them, though, that's where you live. You live in that marketing value. What is the marketing value of summerdeals.com? You can buy it at $650, $700, $800, $1,200, and pretty confidently know that if you work at it and look for somebody to buy that domain name, you can get 3, 6, maybe more for the domain name. Not for me, but from somebody out there who can benefit from summerdeals.com being their domain name. Somebody out there can do it. You just got to go find them. So if you want to do the work or wait a long time for them to find you, that's your option. So hope that little rant helps give some information about like a summerdeals.domain. Great domain name, just not something I would develop or that I would put a business on. Most likely you're not going to either, because it's a marketing domain name. Let's see here. Out of touch. So I like this one. This one is, again, a marketing domain name. So this gives me an opportunity to talk about that a little bit. What the heck is a marketing domain, Drew? You're just making stuff up? Pretty much. I'm a marketer. I do a lot of marketing. And when I think of a marketing domain name, I like to think of the phrases that we see, that we talk to each other in. Have you ever told somebody you're out of touch? Oh, they're out of touch. That person's out of touch. Yes, this is a phrase that we all use. We describe people. And as a marketer, somewhere out there, there is a brand that tries to reach people that are out of touch. Maybe those are the weird people that they're trying to reach, or whatever it is. And out of touch represents their brand. So the value comes from them wanting a domain name that matches their identity. It's going to be really hard for a rookie domainer or somebody that doesn't do a lot in business to put an accurate value on a marketing type domain. That's experience is the best way that I have to, the more you do it, the more you'll learn what a marketing domain name goes. This one's a 3-word one. Let's go check it out in Spyfu. Currently ends in 6 days, $544 already. So people have taken notice. They are not out of touch with outoftouch.com. Yes, I think I'm funny. Okay, so let's see, 8,300 searches. So boom, this is actually pretty good. There's big numbers for this domain name. Out of touch, 8,300. Out of touch Thursday, out of touch lyrics. Okay, so now there's probably a song or something. You're out of touch. Exactly what I was talking about, right? That's a phrase that we are using together to describe things. So there you go. Like you're out of touch. Let's keep going down. Now what we're going to find, just off the top of my head, based on experience, there's not going to be really anybody paying any money for this. Yep. No advertisers, no cost per click. So the way that works, and the reason why I can know that is because marketing domain names are domain names that ring true with us. They mean something to us, maybe in our heart in some way. When you say out of touch, You can picture maybe a person that's in your life. Maybe you're thinking of this crazy domain guy, Drew. He's out of touch. Probably true. But why would somebody pay for that? Like, it's kind of hard to know to pay for that, which is why there's no money being spent. Now, if you were going to develop outoftouch.com, you would need to define what out of touch means. I could see the easy option being like a t-shirt, like a crazy out of touch t-shirt, sayings and things that are mean or just out of touch. The things that are just like, whoa, man, that's mean, or they're out of touch. But a lot of people, that's what they wear. They're proud to be out of touch. So there you go. I could see that being a brand with that, which when you're using the word brand, especially when you see lyrics here, you just got to watch out a little bit or a lot, because it probably is a trademark phrase. In fact, I could look it up. I'm not going to. I want to keep moving on. Most likely, Out of Touch is going to be a brand. It's likely going to be trademarked, and then you're going to get into that whole trademark world, which is it's the killer of the domain names. It's the killer of the domain developer, which is why I stick around with generic domains. So just keep that in mind if you go for that domain name. Most likely, it's going to be a limited domain. Followership. I don't know. Okay, maybe something real. Gigabit Ethernet. Yeah, one day long ago, somebody bought that one and they're like, yeah, man, I got the greatest domain name ever. And now we're probably even above that. I don't know. So it's probably worth something, just not to me. I don't like domains that are based on technology. Like, I think the person that owns compactdisc.com or even laptop.com, they try to sell it at auction every year, and it never sells because they want too much, and nobody really uses these language anymore. Nobody says, I want a compact disc, or it just isn't a thing. So you got to watch out when you buy technology type domains. Urban nomad. Low touch. Jewelry lovers. I know there's a lot of mom and pop type places that create, jewelry. So it could be a brandable or a nice blog site there. If you're into jewelry or especially homemade, that'd be a good one for a blog. Then you can go the long route, create the content, feature jewelry, and then eventually start getting sponsorship on something like that. College Report, probably the same thing. College Report, it's generic. You can build a blog. You can talk about college for the education standpoint, or just college sports maybe. But College Report, more of a blog, long-term type business. But if you're passionate about something, you can go for it. Pilates workout. I don't know if that's spelled right. I'm not going to look into it. I'm not really all that excited about it. Business bots, not bad. In fact, let's go look at it. Let's look at it, because realistically, that's the kind of domain name I'd probably toss some money at, and just based on my gut. My gut tells me that I would be the guy searching for business bots. Like, can I automate this? Is there a bot for this? The guys in my office hear me talk about it all the time. Like, we just need to get a bot that watches for that and reports back to us. What am I actually saying when I say that? I don't know. I'm saying, create a script, set it on a schedule, check it out. Like, it's not a bot. I guess it is a bot. I don't know. Business bots, not really much happening with it, but fun domain name. That'd be the kind of domain name, though, that I would toss at least probably a 388 bid on it. I'm going to probably add it. So Let me come at it this way. So business bots ending in 6 days, $166 currently. So let's say you're looking to program, you're not a programmer currently, you're looking for a domain name that you can develop, that you can play on, but you want to play in a way that can possibly make you money, which is the best kind of play. Just so you know, most of us entrepreneurs who have done a bunch of different stuff, all we're doing is playing. We're playing with this, we're playing with that, we're trying some new things, and the things that kind of are most fun, get our most attention, and turn into products and services. That's exactly why I would be interested in this domain name, and why you might be interested in this domain name as well. If you're scripting, businessbots.com could be a fun place where you are practicing scripts, and then you set them up to where others can use them in their business. Next thing you know, you're setting up a subscription or a SaaS type thing, software as a service, where they pay you $20 a month or something to come in and use these little scripts and bots that you've created for them. Businessbots.com sounds like a pretty good domain name to do that on. So all that went through my head when I was essentially saying businessbots.com is probably going to get a little bid from me. Over on the community, you can message me, the community.dtp.tv. You can message me over there, and if you're going to bid on it. I do not want the domain name unless nobody else is going to bid on it. Unless you, by that I mean you. If you are a viewer of Domain to Profit, then I want you to have the businessbots.com, because it's going to sit in my portfolio, and maybe someday I'll get around to play with it. Maybe not. We'll see. So hopefully that makes sense. I do have it added to my watch list, businessbots.com. I wonder, you remember those Expedia commercials where it's like Expedia.com? I bet you the .com extension, top level domain, they owe Expedia so much money. Expedia like put them on the map. Yeah, exactly. You got to watch out with these brandables and trade names. Danger Will Robinson, Indeed, or thank you for the typo. You don't have to correct your typos. I got you, and I make many typos myself, as you probably know. If you're out of I've converted you, Matt, because I'm sure I'm out of touch. I'm 100% out of touch, but I like being out of touch. Actually, I don't set to be out of touch. I just set out to be myself. The only thing is most people are always spending so much time trying to be somebody else that they resemble being out of touch when they try to be themselves. So it's weird how that happens. Rent my bike. I kind of like that. Why do I like that so much? Like, there's, you can rent out your house, you can rent out your apartment on Airbnb. There's websites that let you rent out your car. There's a service called Toro where you can rent out your own personal car to others. So why not rent a bike? Why not? So France, rent my bike. Okay, here's an opportunity to do this. We're going to do the Control F. I'm going to go up here and highlight rent my bike. Things glow. So now you'll see how, even though our exact match gets 44 searches, there's other searches available for this domain name. Rent my bike France. Can I rent my bike? Rent my bike. How to rent my bike app. I want to rent my bike. So there's different various things here going on, and no advertisers, no money being spent. Bike rentals near me. I don't know if you can tackle that keyword with this one, but nonetheless, rentmybike.com sounds like a fun little project for somebody. Live in a popular tourist area. You have your bikes and want to let somebody rent them at $15 a day or something. Go for it. Sounds good to me. So, okay, rentmybike.com. Not much happening, but it is a fun domain name. $55 ends next week, so that'll be actually while we're live. So it may show up next week too. We'll see. Humor video. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. I know that from Dance Dance Revolution. I know it's a real song, but you know, I'm not going to stand up and dance. No, don't stop asking. Stop asking. I know you'd like to see it. It's not going to happen. Strategy software, that's interesting. We had quality software, then strategy software. Maybe somebody letting some domains go. Okay, here we go. I haven't had the opportunity to talk about this in a while. The middle S, the hidden middle S. And here's the thing. Domain names where the first word is plural is usually a trap. Like 90+% of the time, it is a trap. This is one of those things. Ideastore.com, great domain. Ideasstore.com, garbage domain name. So just know if the first word is plural and it doesn't it's not the most popular way to say it, there are exceptions. We just had one recently. I don't remember it, but ideasstore.com, that domain name would be so difficult for you to tell people. Ideasstore.com, it's ideas with an S, store. It would just be a nightmare. Don't do it. You're going to torture yourself. Avoid the middle S. And I'm talking about the middle S being the S making the first word plural. I haven't had a chance to do that rant in a while. Look at this. I get to do it again. Skillschool.com, great domain. Skillsschool.com, garbage domain. There you go. Mission Space, that is a Disney ride, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. Sorry to tell you that. Homebred, isn't that like a thing? I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I don't know if anybody actually searches for it, but I think it's no, maybe not. I thought for some reason homebred was almost a slang term or something. This is always dangerous. Yeah, it is. So homebred, bred or raised at home. So there you go. Homebred, it's a real word. So some people, when they see a dictionary word, they're like, a dictionary word? I'm going to spend so much money and make a fortune. No, it doesn't actually work. Just because it's a dictionary word does not mean you're going to make money off of it. 1 day left, 1 hour left, $155. Now, again, does this word mean something to somebody? Or more importantly, does it mean something to a lot of people? We already went over here. We typed it in. Not really anything happening. Very few searches. In fact, they're getting it confused with ombre. So there's just not a whole lot going on with this domain name. No advertisers, no money. So you're going to be going, if you were to buy this domain name, you got to go based on a market. Consider it a marketing domain name. Homebred. Okay, well, we learned over here on Google from the dictionary, even though it shows up on Google, they're stealing it off dictionary.com or Oxford Languages. Annoying as all crap. Give them the click, but that's a whole other rant altogether. But it's bred and raised at home. I don't know what business you would use that for. Therefore, people like to think that dictionary words are like money in the bank. That's not necessarily the case. If you can get it for cheap, maybe you can sell it to somebody for a few $1,000s. But that's not going to be $1 million domain name. And many people buy domains like that thinking they're going to make it rich sometime in the future. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's great if you all the dance. I'm a dancer, man. I love to dance. I can't dance, but I love to dance. Okay. But yeah, don't fall for the domain name. I own several dictionary domain names that I bought when I was I created a script that would auto register domain names or auto add me to auctions. And I got like clunked.com, which is it was a mistake. Like, don't do that. Don't make those mistakes. If you like Homebread, then sure, get it, but don't think it's going to do much for you. And with that said, I'm willing to pay a couple $100 for it. It's not worth, that one's not going to be the one that you go thousands in on. One of the things I highly recommend for people buying domains is find domains in your realm, in the area that you already know, and do the research like we're doing. But then you also have your gut to go off of. You have the research, you have your gut. Start there. Don't go all over the place buying domains like everybody that has been around forever. It's a way to get burnt. So different people. I know Matt does games. Chaz does coaster stuff. We have different people. They start in their arena. Start in your area, and look for what I call those the beachhead domain names. And a beachhead domain name is a domain name that is good enough to give you entry to an industry. So good enough to get you entry into an industry. One of the ones that I talk about is the first domain name I ever bought when I entered the towing industry was autotowing.com. It was not towing.com, it was autotowing.com. And I started with that domain name and then was able to kind of prove to myself that I could pay the big money for towing.com. But autotowing.com was my beachhead domain name. It allowed me to prove to myself and to others and to already start to get a little bit of money going based on a concept so I can move into a bigger, more expensive domain name. In my case, I mortgaged my house or put my house in the line, flew out to California, bought towing.com, big 6-figure domain, was a little bit crazy, but it has paid off significantly. And I'm very thankful I did that, but it all started with a beachhead domain name. And beachhead being kind of a World War II reference to the idea of Normandy, and they wanted to open the Western Front. And you may know this, but they wanted to open a Western Front to go at the Eastern Front. But it was so well defended that they couldn't attack all over the place. They had to find one place that they could attack. And they kind of went all in on those two beaches, and they attacked those two places heavily, and that allowed them to enter into Western Europe. So there you go. That is how you attack an industry with a weaker domain name. So that would be things like, autotowing.com, some of these other domain names. Let's find one real quick. App download, quality software. If you're getting into programming, quality software is not bad. You're not going to find good domain names, and that one's kind of quality. So that's a beachhead type domain name. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the strategy I go for. Stick in your area, spend your money there, get a good domain name in your beachhead area, and then expand from there. Auto towing was not cheap. I still paid, I think, $8,000 for it. So it was not cheap, but I knew that I would be able to use that domain name and started there and went from there. So we'd all love to have the bigger domains, but you don't just start with a big domain name. You can, but man, you just got to watch out. Most big domain names are going to be 5 figures, 6 figures. You buy the wrong one, like, for example, one of the ones that I kind of mention on a almost weekly basis, worst domain name I ever purchased, or by worst, I mean the worst deal I ever got was movingcompany.com. I purchased that great domain name, but I paid like $200,000 for it. I way overpaid, and my ego was in the way. I knew that industry really well. I was already making money in the industry. Towing.com was starting to prove that domain names mattered, and my ego made me pay way too much for that domain name. And long story short, it's the domain name I regret the most. I would have loved to have bought it, just not for $200,000. So that was my mistake, my big expensive mistake back in the past. So it happens to all of us. Hopefully you can learn from my mistake versus making your own is what I'm saying. That's always the way to go. Learn from others' mistakes. Okay, we're down to page 1, 10 minutes left. So let's go ahead and summarize. We're going to go ahead and summarize things up. We'll look over the domain names that we've highlighted today on Domain to Profit, episode 105. So that's 2 weeks. So this is the first week of year 3. Pretty big deal. So we'll go over the domain names we've looked at so far, and then we're going to log into my GoDaddy account, and I'll show you the domain names I purchased over the last few weeks. I did this last week, but I did buy one that, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. I said I need to almost provide a refinder's fee or something. Matt, who is in the chat, messaged me and mentioned, the domain name I bought. I ended up paying like a few thousand dollars for a domain name that I am in love with. So stay tuned. I'll share that. But let's first kind of just look over these domains that we looked at. Homebread.com, looking for a dictionary word. That could be it. $155 currently, ends in a day. But don't get carried away is what I said about this one. Rent My Bike. I could just see some teenager making an enterprise out of this one. $55 currently. That one will end next week during showtime. RentMyBike.com would be a fun little app, as you can see by the keyword searches. People like it. Business Bots. I like this one mostly out of just for the fun of it. This would be a good one for you to maybe hack things together, learn programming. You can put your little code on there and possibly even get people to pay you down the road. So outoftouch.com, this is the marketing domain name. It's not something that actually has money behind it, but instead it's something we all say to each other. So you may be interested in this one just from the idea of it'd be a good blog. It could be maybe a good t-shirt company, but check the trademarks. You have to look up the trademarks on a domain name like this, because anytime you get into brandables, somebody owns the trademark on it, pretty much guaranteed. The question is it worth messing with? So summerdeals.com ends in 5 days, $650 currently. Again, not a great developable one, but a great marketing domain name. Then that one's generic. You can use that one, or at least you should be good to use it. Appdownloads.com. Don't like the domain name, but it is a good one. This one was an enom domain name, so I do anticipate that it will be pulled most likely by the end of the day today. QualitySoftware.com. Again, this is kind of a brandable. If you create software, you may be interested in for your blog. Workphone.com. I didn't get into the business aspect of it because the numbers were pretty low, but Workphone. I bought a commercial phone just recently for work, and people still do that. People still use normal phones. They just run on the internet instead, and you can sell them or help people with work phone stuff. That one ends before the show next week. So remotebackup.com. I am not the high bidder, so this is one of the things I said we would check on towards the end of the show. We're towards the end of the show, so here it is. Remotebackup.com is now at $12,000. Should I increase my bid? I'm just kidding. I don't have any way to develop remote backup, so I was in the like 3,500 range. So we'll see if that one ends. $12,000 is what that currently is. I'll come back and check on that after we look into to GoDaddy domains. So let's see here. The domain names I won. So the domain name that Matt mentioned to me, which I very much appreciate him mentioning, was Shop Near Me. ShopNearMe.com. It did not make the show last week. It was on the screen. I just didn't see it. Did you see it? Who saw you? Somebody saw it. I know somebody out there saw that domain name and didn't mention it. That's okay. I don't hold it against you. But luckily, Matt mentioned it to me, and I went hard at it. Let me just show you the numbers on this, and let me give you a warning after what you're about to see on this. So the numbers look great. This is why I was interested in this domain name, or one of the reasons. So using Shop Near Me, I will be able to target things like coffee shops near me, bike shops near me, smoke shops near me, tattoo shops, barber shops. So I'll be able to go after a lot of keywords that use shop. Now, what I don't like about it is near me is a generic term. It doesn't really hold that keyword weight, but it's still pretty good. And the kicker here is I actually already own shopnearby.com. So Shop Near Me is just a perfect match for that domain name. And I'm super thrilled that I was able to get shopnearme.com, just a little over $2,800, hoping that hits my account. And as I usually do, that was shared. I share it really quickly over on community.dtp.tv. That is the inside crew, peeps. You want to know what has been recently purchased, not purchased, or missed out on, things I regret not getting. Check it out. Me and others share that information over on community.dtp.tv. So you may want to check that out. And then I mentioned did I mention Apple Orchards? Or did I bought appleorchards.com too. I love the domain name. I think it's pure, good from almost a brandable standpoint, but I also love the idea of helping the mom and pop apple orchards, get visitors if that's something they want to do, or sell their product direct to consumers. I love helping small businesses and the mom and pops, and I spent $39.50 to do that, and I'm damn happy I did. True story. I'm really excited. Like I paid about $500 more than what I wanted to for appleorchards.com. But I will also say I paid under what I was willing to pay for Shop Near Me. Shop Near Me, I think I was going to go up to like $6,500. And as you can see, I ended up getting it for the under $3,000. So it doesn't always work out that way. So I'll take it that it did. So there we go. I think I got the things that I wanted to get and mentioned the things I wanted to mention. Therefore, it is time for this. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe, join the community where we can talk about domain names all the time. I'm definitely playing with the idea of doing more frequent live streams versus a set 3 p.m. one. Just bear with me. I'm still sticking with this. I want to talk to you more. I want to do more live streams and put more out into the world versus a full long hour, do little blocks. And then the thought I had was I could, maybe, anyhow, I would like to have some curated content. So content that was edited together, because some of the stuff that we talk about, it needs to be curated. It needs to be put together in a way that makes sense and can be consumed and taught and not mixed in with all the live content. So that's the problem I've been working on, is how to get the nuggets of wisdom that really matter and are really helpful. How do I get those boxed up and put out there so the community can learn from them without having to watch an hour-long show? Make sense? Okay. Well, if you haven't liked, subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. Join the community and say hi over on Twitter. Let me check the chat one more time and make sure I do miss stuff. I am sorry if I miss a chat. I try to keep up with it, but it does get a little confusing, the tools and things I have here. So I will see you next week, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be back home in Cincinnati and doing it from my home studio, not home studio, but the base studio, the one in the office, the one with all the gizmos and gadgets aplenty. Okay. Have a great week. See you next week.